Because it's also business and complain that Jazz threw you in the mud. You must know your space. If I'm going to be a businessman or I say I want to do this, I must know and have knowledge of that space. True. And not just go in because Jazz is in that space and he thinks it's good. How do I then seek accountability tomorrow? How do I demand and request for accountability on a number of things in terms of that? You can't. You throw your money, you're hoping for the best. Yeah. You need to know and own up that space. When you are in a meeting, people must know what you are talking about, not you sitting there and wanting to be represented because somebody else is going to do that for you. Responsibility comes at play, and that's where we need to really own up and really pick it up very quickly as footballers. Because, like I said, football in our lives is not really forgiving. The errors that you commit until you 33. When I start to realize at 33 that all these years I've wasted so much and I've done so many wrong things, saying I'm in a stage of immaturity. I'm mature when I'm left with 3 or 4 years of my playing career. You could be a lawyer until you're 60. So you have the opportunity to shape your life. With us, no. We need to grow very quickly, be responsible very quickly, and protect our interests because our careers are short. We can't think long term. It's short term and we protect. Short term and we protect. Because your first contract could be your last contract. Now you can't think ahead.
I think that the concept of players go broke, I must say, it's a very close subject to my heart. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm actually, working on it, been working on it from a while back. The reason is also for from where I'm sitting as an agent to understand why. Because part of what I've always thought, and I think that's what probably everybody else thinks, is they can throw quickly because they can throw already women in there. They can throw things that are very, easy to throw into the problem. But I personally think, and being the one that have, dived into some situations, it's a huge fundamental problem. It's not something that, tomorrow you get a big deal of $1 million sign-on fee or 200,000 or 50,000 salary, whatever, that automatically the problem starts. That thing started way back when you're not even a professional footballer. But what I think is the opportunity that the players are missing, which is something that, 18 years ago, 15 years ago, I woken up to it, was that when I sign a player, we start discussing the plans to put away money. And not all of them will be business people, by the way. We must also be honest and fair about this. That's why even ordinary members of the society are not successful business people. Because it's not about being a player, automatically you'll be a successful businessman. What will give you is a competitive edge that if Nhlanhla starts fat cakes and whatever that he sells, they'll sell faster and more quicker than mine because Nhlanhla is known. People just want to go and buy a Mahlakgane because they'll meet him and have an opportunity to take a picture. So players must just, as of today, just understand that you need to invest first in your brand as a person and invest more on other elements that will help you beyond your football. And when we calculate this years that players are really playing football, the minimum is really 5 years. Doesn't matter how long you play, it's 5 years. It's that 5 years you have to do everything. Because the money that you're gonna get now, the chances are you getting it at a later stage as equivalent to 0. So a player starts like Nhlanhla earning, as he mentioned last time, he starts at 20 or 15. But at some point it's going to reach the hundreds. But then they won't stay at the hundreds. So during that 100 moment, that's when you start investing, and that's what I've always encouraged players. And that is where I think the notion of my way and highway comes in, because I'm avoiding a situation where, if you can imagine, if I've managed 20 players multiplied by every 6 years players retire, that means I'll be sitting with, give and take, 60 players that are retired now, which I don't. So all of them, if they've not done well, they don't have anything, they'll all be knocking at my door. He calls it the phone must ring. I mean, at some point, we all go broke, because that means I must all look after them beyond the football, which I did not do my work. And I'm now forced to do it because I didn't do my work. But if I did my work so well, they'll also feel a bit shy to call me for something like that, because they know we spoke about it. And as far as I'm concerned, because I'm involved in your financial investment and put away and certain elements where I even said, put this one away, don't even look at it, and just put 10 years into it. We'll see it at a later stage. And because the rules will be such that you can't access it, because me and you at the bank or any investment corporation that we put there, we both agree that it can be accessible. It doesn't matter whether the house is on fire, you have lost everything. That money must wait, and which is the part that I'm saying that this topic is very close to my heart. And the other thing is, agent and union must encourage players not to look at the bottom part of the contract all the time, at the money. That's where the problem is. Look at the entire contract. Look at what it means for you. Because if for example, you didn't do certain things within the rules of the club, you could be terminated the same day, which means that big contract disappears within a day. So that's just part of what the players must also start learning. And I really encourage my colleagues and the union from their side to really encourage players to invest money.
I think in my view and what I've seen, that leads to footballers retiring and being broke. It's poor planning, poor decisions. Well, we always lean on the side of being previously disadvantaged.
Yeah.
It comes to play to a certain extent.
And blame the agent.
But yeah, and blame the agents, because some of them chow, some don't, so don't start with it. But yes, now let's look at how Brajes has mentioned. You have 5 years realistically with the contract that you sign. Anything else is additional, it's a blessing. So if you were to plan, if you want a house and your contract is 3 to 5 years, what kind of a house are you buying as a starter?
Yeah.
That's the first one. The second one, what kind of a car are you buying as a starter? That's the second one. Now, if you are to invest money, are you talking long-term, short-term, medium plan? What is it that you want to achieve from that financial avenue that you are undertaking, if anything? I mean, it never made sense, and this is what I've always said. We train 10 kilometers away from the club. I, Nhlanhla Shabalala, as a player, I drive an X6. I've got a Mini Cooper and another BMW. What am I doing with 3 cars when I train within 10 kilometers from where I stay? I leave home in the morning with a full attire Gucci, which is 23,000 rands. For what? Because I get into a changing room, I undress, I unbutton, I hang those things there. I get into a kit, we eat breakfast, we train. After training, if we have a second session, I come back and I wear the kit because we have a second session. So the Gucci that I hung at 9 in the morning, I find it at 5 in the afternoon when I'm done with my second part of training. I get into my X6. I drive home to my 5 million rands house. This is my first contract. And I unbutton, ngihlala ngevest. Who am I proving a point to? The next day I'm on a Versace, then I bring my Mini Coupe. So in a week I change 3 cars. Why? To what benefit is it for me to live such a lifestyle? Let us be realistic. Our careers are short. Your contract is uncertain. He spoke about the bread and butter. Must not only be the focus, we must also look at the responsibility that we have as players, the obligations to the club and what they have as an obligation to us. There are terms and conditions that we need to abide to. And those terms and conditions, if broken, you break that particular contract. But what have I committed to? I've committed to 3 cars. I've committed to a house that I can't afford in a long run. You pay a house for 20 years. Yeah. Did you really think and take that decision? I would rather you stay in an apartment and rent for 4 years. No matter keep rent 5,000. Save the bulk of the money, because sometimes we have players who are renting in for 30,000 rands a month whilst living in the suburbs. What kind of decisions are we making? Yes, disadvantaged. We didn't discuss finances with our parents. I mean, my mom and dad, we could not talk money. Abayazi mali. What he has, he pays for the food, and we live and live and live. The best advice I would have gotten in my time as a football, make sure that you invest. How? Where? What does it mean? What's the benefit for me? But that's what they could give, because that's how little knowledge they had. With us, we have learned, we have seen former players, how they suffer. Those who came back even from overseas, where they brought pounds into South Africa. And we make history because the Jazz, rand has been proven to be the only currency that chows a pound.
Of course.
Or the euro, because people go and they come back with euros. They come to South African rands. Within a year or two, they are broke. Financial decisions are poor. how they direct their investments are very poor as well, because it doesn't make sense that I would invest in a nightclub when I don't know where to begin. Just because I'm told in nightclub, people drink alcohol a lot in South Africa, throw your money in there, you are going to make returns. Look at Konka, look at everyone. But what is their financial model?
Yeah.
How are they really dealing with it? So we are very optimistic. We throw our money into things thinking that we are going to get what everybody else is getting. But that's not the reality of things. So we need to really draw back. Players, there's nothing wrong with starting small. You can drive your Polo. You can stay in a small apartment, save as much. If I earn 80, what is wrong with saving 50? And focus on the 30 and live a lifestyle at 30 whilst you know. Because this 50 in a year gives you 600,000. So if you manage to save the 50 for 2 years, you have 1.2. It's a house. You can buy it cash. You are done. You have no debt. You have secured yourself something. 2 years, that's all it takes as a sacrifice. And I'm talking the bigger contracts, because there are those who start very low. It becomes a bit of a challenge to invest, which is why we fight for more money for them so that they're able to at least build a life. But education is also key. And he said, not everyone's going to be a businessman. Not everyone is going to be a professor after their playing days. We differ, and the directions that we're going to take are different. But what matters at this point in time, we must not get ahead of ourselves. Be reasonable with your circumstances. Choose what you are comfortable with. It must not be on the basis of Nhlanhla Shabalala. Now, mangpake mall, a polo, a mall. People are going to say, "How vaga polo?" But only 7 years at polo. We need to start taking time, listen, pay attention. And if we don't want it, discard it and move forward. But we must never be too busy to take in and learn and the knowledge from people that know and understand other sectors that will improve us and makes us the best human beings that we can be. So we need to better ourselves.
What Nhlanhla is saying in a nutshell is my way or highway only works. No other thing. But because if you don't, that's what he's saying. For the past 2 minutes, he was just trying to say to people, guys, please listen to Jazzman. Listen to Jazzman. Okay, so I think in a close, I think we must also get to a space where, and I remember Nhlanhla when he was speaking, I remembered the point he raised in the previous episode that these players are the most important people in the game. Everybody is. And I think once we get to understand the importance of everyone in this ecosystem, it will work. But the minute one is more important than the other, you're going to have problems, because already this guy doesn't see himself buying a 4-roomed house in Soweto, where he can, or in Katlehong for that matter, where he can actually get it for 80 grand. He doesn't feel that way. It's too important that he can't stay here. But you stayed here all your life before you signed a contract with any club. So why not then capitalize on the opportunity that, you know, a family 3 blocks from your house, they probably are moving out of the town and are selling their 4-room house. Buy it, turn it into what you want it to be. And from there, you've already got your first investment within the township, which means I'm making very basic. And as a matter of fact, I might even be giving away my game. I might be giving my competitive edge to say, this is what I encourage my players to do. The small means must be practical. You earn 10 grand, you can still put away 2,000 rand a month. It doesn't mean that I'm going to wait for 15, 20, 30 to put away. You earn whatever that you earn, put away something that is going to look after you. And you put away money today, it actually looks after you later in your years of a twilight and whatever. And Nhlanhla mentioned the years. It's very, very important that because I make my players be scared when I sign them, that please understand, my friend, in South Africa, after 30, people look at you differently. You are no longer the player before 30. So which means from 30 up to, if you're lucky, 35. From there onwards, you've got a life to live. If you're lucky, I mean, the lifespan of a human being is 70, 75. But you could live 80. You could be blessed in your family, you live up to 90. So which means you've got the next 60 years or 55 years of no income. If you don't have education.
There's no pension money.
There is no. So those are the kind of things that I think Nhlanhla will write a book about, My Way or the Highway, and players will benefit from it, and I think everybody will be very happy. And he'll just credit me at the bottom. He'll just credit me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oof. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for watching Sitting with Stan, Season 3. Good night.